G'day folks, happy Canada Day. Now this year for my Canada Day movie, I chose a movie that isn't actually Canadian at all. It does have Canadian in the title, and it has a prominent Canadian actor, Canadian Bacon. Now you'd think this would be a pretty appropriate Canada Day movie. Well, there's a lot about Canada in there, so I think it's appropriate. However, this movie is not very good at all. I kind of dropped the ball here. Now, last time I did like a Canadian movie, I think was Strange Brew. That was a good one, you know. It was made in Canada, stars Canadians. It's about Canada, it takes place in Canada. Well, this is an American-made movie made by Michael Moore, of all people. You know, the political documentarian, or I would describe him as such. The guy who made Bowling for Columbine. That guy writing a comedy movie? I mean, I guess he's pretty good, like, at observational kind of quirky kind of humor, but it's a little bit too cerebral for what everybody was expecting to be like a typical John Candy comedy. Well, John Candy's in it. It's not his best performance by any means. I don't know, something just doesn't work in here. Now this is John Candy's last theatrically released movie. It's not his actual last movie because he passed away, I guess, during the filming of Wagons East, which I've also got right here. But they held on to Canadian Bacon until after he had died, and then released it in the theaters, hoping to recoup some of the money that they'd spent on making this. Yeah, I guess I should tell you what it's all about. Okay, John Candy's like local sheriff in Niagara Falls, New York, on the American side of Niagara Falls. And the town has kind of gone to crap, and there's a closure of a big weapons manufacturing facility closed down. You know, everybody's out of a job, and the times are tough in this town, and it's very common for people to jump off the falls and kill themselves. Kind of a little dark, but hey, this is 1995, and you can do whatever you wanted in 1995, apparently. Anyway, so that's all played for a joke. John Candy has a deputy, played by Rhea Perlman. Her name, I think, is Honey. God, she's super annoying. And yeah, they're trying to, like, either rescue people that are trying to kill themselves or recover the bodies of people that do kill themselves. And apparently they get paid for it. I don't know. I mean, like, this whole thing is absurd, really, because, like, the humor in it is, like, Michael Moore pointing out all these things that are, like, just wrong with the United States and what we think is wrong with Canada. Alan Alda as the president, he just crashing in the polls, and his approval rating just sucks. So they want to start another war, so they decide to start a war with Canada. You know, there's jokes about like consumerism and stuff, and how we're all kind of like just obsessed with violence and guns and excitement and products. Like, I get it. I get all the humor in here, but the way that it's presented is so dry. Or if it's not dry, it's like super, super forced seeming, like slapstick kind of jokes. And it's just, the writing is super bad in this. And I didn't laugh once when I watched this entire movie. Stephen Wright's in there, comedian Stephen Wright, the real deadpan guy. He's in there and he plays a Mountie. He's the funniest part of this movie. Cracked a smile when he was on screen. Other than that, oh my god, it's so dumb. So yeah, it's about international relations between Canada and the US in Niagara Falls, and there's like some radicals led by John Candy that go into Canada, and they inadvertently start a war at a hockey game because they start a big fight at a hockey game because they insult the Canadian beer or something, and then everybody just gloves are off and everybody's fighting and stuff, and it's considered this big like riot. American citizens were attacked and all this, so the president, wanting to increase his approval ratings, starts a war, or wants to start a war, and so there's like secret plans to, do this and blame the Canadians, or do that and, force the Canadians to attack us, and It's stupid, and it's just a bunch of people running back and forth over the border, and then one of them gets captured, and then it's dumb. It's really dumb, and it's in typical Michael Moore fashion. It's going to make fun of like gun culture, the U.S. war machine. Speaking of which, that's personified by Rip Torn in this movie. He plays like this high-ranking general, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, or whatever his title is. Yeah, and then of course they kind of point out things about Canadians, quirky things about Canadians, and they think that all of our cops up here are RCMP or dressed in red with the big hats, and you know, and then we never lock our doors, and we're all so polite and nice, and you know, all we care about is hockey and beer and donuts and stuff, and that it's super cold. I mean, I don't mind the Canadian jokes. A lot of that shit is true, right? But lay off, America. It seems kind of lame. Like, Canadians are better at making fun of themselves than you guys are. I don't mind that stuff. It's just that the jokes aren't funny. Like, they're just cliched jokes that you've heard. Canadian jokes or whatever. Anyway, I don't really have much to say about this movie because it's not much of a movie. Like I said, it didn't make me laugh once. And for a comedy, you're striking out, man. I only watched it all the way through because I had to, or I felt like I had to give a complete review. So yeah, it was pretty tedious to get through. I think it was like 90 minutes. This is not anywhere near John Candy's best movie. He's made so many better movies than this, and it's so sad that this was the last one that we got to see in a theater. Yeah, you know, rest in peace, John Candy. You are missed. Even almost 30 years after your death, people still remember you. That's appropriate for Canada Day, is to honor a notable Canadian iconic Canadian actor. Yeah, but as I said, this is not much of a movie. It kind of sucks. So I think I'm going to have to give Canadian Bacon a D+. It only gets that plus because of John Candy, but it definitely gets a D because it's dumb and it didn't work. So, you know, sorry, eh? Like, this is not a good Canadian movie for Canada Day, but I did get to see John Candy again, so I guess alright. And it is better than Speed Zone. D+. So until next Canada Day, or hopefully you don't wait that long to watch any of my videos, but so until next time, next video we got here. Once again, happy Canada Day. Have a good one out there.